To really achieve a high level of mastery in creating successful business, it requires you to look carefully at your behavior, your habits. You know, I always think about if I took a business just like yours and I took the same industry, the same audience, the same number of customers, the same number of employees, and I put you in front of the helm versus another leader, someone's going to get further, faster. Someone's going to outgrow the other. And that's not because the organizations, I've said all the factors are the same. So what's the secret ingredient? The secret ingredient is the mindset and methods of the leader. It starts with you. And it particularly starts with your habits. And you are 100% disciplined to your own habits. 100% disciplined to your own habits. It's not about discipline. The word discipline comes from disciple. It means to follow. It also means to punish. The word habit is a tendency to do things a certain way. A discipline is a way of doing things, but a habit is a tendency to do things a certain way. So what we have to get in the room here is the 700-pound gorilla. Dancing with the 700-pound gorilla is the biggest obstacle, probably the biggest problem that exists in business today that causes failure. We have to remember that after 4 years in business, 94% fail. So that means a very small number are actually going to make it. Why do they fail? There's probably 15 good reasons. One of the biggest is enthusiasm. You don't run out of money, you run out of time. Problem with it is tyranny of the urgent. The 700-pound gorilla is the if factor, I-F, F as in Frank. Incessant freneticness. Incessant freneticness. Rather than do the things that are best to suit the business and the future, we as business owners get caught in the habit of reacting, responding to the perceived urgencies of the business that cause us to make decisions that kill it. In particular, kill our level of enthusiasm. We become prisoner of our own machine. We actually self-inflict our own betrayal. And so at the beginning of the process, it's very, very illuminative, enthusiastic, because we're focusing on a few things that we think we can compete with. We go to the marketplace, we demonstrate these uncommon skills, and we love doing this, and people love doing it. But over time, as we get better and better at it, the unintended consequence is a buildup of stuff. And stuff becomes a war on your time. It's a tyranny of the urgent. And as that to-do list becomes pseudo work, not impact work, but pseudo work, the pseudo work becomes the dream stealer. The pseudo work becomes the enthusiasm thief. It becomes the thief of joy. And all the fun and all the spirit and the challenge of being a business owner and doing what you love goes out the door, and you realize that you had idealized all this and that everything you thought it would be isn't really that Shangri-La. It starts to get very difficult. And that's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because that is the systemic archetype of limits to growth, is that you get on a growth arc and there's a consequence of limits that start to creep up on you and you hit a ceiling. And that complexity, you can't go any further beyond until you change first how you think, because you can't solve the problem at the level of thinking that's causing it. Did you hear that? You can't solve the problem at the level of thinking that's causing it. In other words, you don't have the consciousness to go to the next level because you don't see inadvertently what you're doing. So you're caught in this vortex, you're caught in this plateau of progress, and you can't see the forest through the trees, and you don't know where the root cause is really coming from, but you experience the consequences. The loss of enthusiasm, frustration sets in, you feel a sense of powerlessness, very helpless, you sense isolation, no one will really understand you, you can't really talk to anyone because you had to outdo your critics, so you really have to be careful about your disclosures because there's a fear of humiliation, all that. It's all real, it's all part of the experience. And after coaching entrepreneurs for 25 years, I've heard this up to my ears. I mean, I've been the absorber, and I have been the sound wall, the echo chamber that has heard this for 25 years. That's over 45,000 coaching sessions. coming upon 50. So that being said, there's a very simple tool that I want to teach you that has a very big impact. And it's always about big doors that swing on little hinges. It's never about the big cathartic strides. It's not about the big breakthroughs. It's the small breakthroughs that lead to a really big change, a small breakthrough in your thinking. So in sports and in show business, there are rehearsals, there's practice. In sports, there's pit stops, there's court time, there's off-the-court time, there's rehearsals and practice, there's script practice in television shows, in films. You rehearse, you get it right, you practice, you prepare. This isn't normal in a business setting. We're like on all the time, creating, producing, performing, trying to make it work, gunning it, and we get into a place where we catch up to ourselves with a problem. The problem catches us. The boogeyman comes upon us. The 700-pound gorilla is that we run out of what we think, which is I don't have any time. And because I don't think I have any time, I believe that's true. Even if I had the time, I wouldn't take advantage of it. Because time is 24 hours a day. We all have the same amount. It's the feeling that I don't have any. And then the cognitive reflex that if I keep thinking that, I keep reinforcing that by running out of time, doing things that don't multiply my time because I'm just trying to get things off my plate. And it's like running in place or treading water. I can't seem to really get anywhere. I like the dopamine and the relief of knocking stuff out, but there really is no advancement or movement that is worth talking about. And so it's interesting that we're looking at how our energy is managed. Not our time, but our energy. And in order for our energy to really be managed well, it's not about our execution, it's about our preparation. Because there needs to be time in performance for renewal. There needs to be time for consolidation, for preparation, for scaling, for planning, for failure avoidance, for productive paranoia, for looking after yourself, for looking at the things that you're doing very carefully, getting other people in place, extricating yourself from your vulnerabilities, removing yourself from your weaknesses. It's called working on your business. It's not working in your business, but it's a cliche. It's working on your business. You've heard this. Your grandmother taught it to you. You've heard it for 40 years. You know what this is. The problem is you don't do it. You've gotten really good at a set of bad habits. What is your practice? You keep 100% discipline to your own habits. Slowing down can seem really confronting. To stop in the middle of a performance is like stopping the race. And that can be very uncomfortable for your nervous system because learning anything new or incorporating something new, stopping, taking a rest in the middle of things to prepare and to jump further, farther, faster can seem very disturbing, but absolutely necessary in the big picture of things. So if you want to always be self-employed and get paid for your time, you will not work on your business. You'll work in your business. If you want to be a business owner and you want to increase your wealth possibilities, then it's about firing yourself from almost everything on the org chart, automating every process, taking your intellectual capital and making a playbook, and then being the teacher in the organization who becomes operationally irrelevant. I mean, that's the place where we got to go. And you need help and guidance to get there. This is not something that you should do alone. You need a climbing buddy. That's why there's coaching. I'm the Sherpa that helps establish what this waypoint is, and then the current baseline, and then we have to forge forward these disciplines and these habits, and this is really the way. And so the tool is very simple, and it's just scheduling 2 days a week, or at least one, that is called maintenance time. And maintenance time is for 4 things. The 4 habits of maintenance time is preparation, cleanup, delegation, and upgrading. Okay, those 4 habits: preparation habits, delegation habits, cleaning up, and upgrading. Preparation. You're preparing for what you're about to do. So the other days, maybe you have appointments, maybe you have some opportunities in the pipeline, maybe you've got an important client review or presentation coming up. You want to walk in there and have those climactic moments because you're prepared. See, the financial earnings is in the preparation. It's not in the execution. Because over the time you've been in your career, you go to this school of transactions, and every time you go out in the marketplace and you get paid for value or don't get paid, you treat those two results with equal importance, with equal value. And as you do that, you increase your wisdom. See, you increase that through your experience. And so your habits, your behavior, all the things that you have in place, your support system, the relationships that you're in front of, they're all equal to a certain size check that you can go out and get in the marketplace. And when you want to increase that, the first thing we have to do is change your behavior. And that means we have to change how you organize yourself, how you organize your flow of work. And so you're doing work that in these days is to scale up. You're doing work that is designed to prepare. You're doing work that is really designed to give responsibility to the known strengths of the team that you're building, so that you are constantly subtracting certain things from you to gain addition. It's addition by subtraction. And so less is more. In fact, the less you do, the more earnings you have, because the more responsibility you're giving away. And this means that you start to kind of sense what you're doing more. You monitor all the things you're doing like a time audit and ask yourself, should I be doing this? Is this something that gives me enthusiasm? You actually grade yourself on the activities that you really shouldn't be doing, wouldn't be doing, couldn't be doing, because that's something you should be eliminating, automating, or delegating. That's right. So it's about making sure that you don't undervalue your time. And that means valuing the time that you have, because it's not that time is money, it's that money buys time. And so if you want to buy more time with your money, you got to prepare to go out and earn the money from the execution you're preparing for. It's a system. But if you don't stop in the middle of things, if you don't take 2 steps back to go 5, 10 steps forward, then you're not thinking in an advancing way. You're just not getting the way this mastery game can be played. You got to work on your game. Now, delegation isn't just developing people. Delegation is bringing them more into their gifts. It's making some kind of sale in that sense, in that you know what you need to be giving them, but you're very aware of what their enthusiasm is over their effort. And you'll know that because you don't have to manage them. They're going to ask you for the work. I had a situation where the person in my front desk, my director of first impressions, asked me if she could edit my videos. I said, of course, sure, let's give it a try. She was excited, felt it was a privilege, a blessing. She did it, presented it to me. It was the best in the world. Next week, she came back and asked me again. I'm not even asking. I'm not even giving responsibility. I'm being asked for the work rather than giving the work. Responsibility is taken. It's not given. And that's because a person has the secret weapon of their self-knowledge. That means the employee, the teammate, those individuals, you're serving them by bringing them more and more into what gives them energy. And if they do that, then you're trading off the need to manage with the opportunity to lead, because that independent action is more trustworthy, because rather than train them as a cost, they're already factory made in a known ability, and you're depending on that ability as a magnet for the relationship. This is called unique teamwork, but it's also called scenius. Brian Eno came up with this term, the musician Brian Eno, like the other way of saying genius, but it's a communal genius. It's called scenius. And it's the way that we bring each other into our very highest, best, and possible use of our skill sets and our passion by being together, by working together, by figuring things out together, by creating together, by pursuing outcomes that matter to us together. And we form a scenius. We share tools and techniques with each other. And be like surfers that are going to surf in the same spot, and they're learning all the techniques from each other by making mistakes collectively and sharing these with each other, or sharing breakthroughs with each other. We develop a scenius, which is a communal genius that comes into form by working together and collaborating. And it starts by seeing. It's seeing each other's opportunity of each other, seeing each other's gifts. And that involves really recognizing the magic in us, the genius, the genie in us. And so part of your work as a leader is to see the genie in others. And to let that genie out of the bottle means matching them with the kind of work that unleashes it. The work that they see as an opportunity rather than a job, not a chore, but something they get to express themselves in. That's not just a job, that's a calling, or that's a career. And that has a whole different taste to it in the way that you lay the responsibility out, and then they pull it in rather than you push. So the delegation piece is important. Inspire yourself to let go, have a good criteria, understand what it would look like if it were successful, what the best case scenario would be to work towards, communicate the purpose of the task, the process, the payoff for the other individual. Delegation. It's not drive-by delegation. It's not dumping. We're not dumping on them. We're not driving by. It's careful. It's maintenance day. It's this time that's meant to be precise, to document what needs to be documented, to lay out the 5 to 7 steps to demonstrate excellence in this. Just like you would prepare. Prepare thoroughly. Anticipate potential failures. Have workarounds on those failures. You got the verbal jujitsu in your sales meetings because you're so prepared and forethought for how you're going to stay on your feet and be stable and centered. You're going to own the place. Just imagine walking in there with that kind of confidence. It's attractive. And then cleaning stuff up. You got a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up. You got lists. But imagine having a whole day that this is really the spirit of this day is to clean it off the table, is to clear the log jams, but do it by intention. That this is the time and place to do it, to subtract, and to do demolition so you can build architecture. You got to knock it down, make space for something to move. So what are those things that you're going to knock out? What's the most urgent thing? The thing that's plaguing you. Anything that you're procrastinating on should immediately be delegated. Anything that you haven't done for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, don't kid yourself. Get smart. You're probably going to delegate it. Or maybe even just eliminate it. Get rid of the guilt. You know, I agreed to do my garage, clean my garage. The best decision I make was to not clean it. It got out of my head. So I quit agreeing to it, agonizing, telling myself I was going to do it. Then I break my agreement. The negative reinforcement would come. I haven't met my expectations. I feel powerless. Just let go of the whole idea. It wasn't something I was going to agree to anyway. I had to sneak up on myself. So clean up your stuff. Get your cleanups off your table. Make a list of your best cleanups. So what would bring you the best relief? What would give you the best opportunity to delegate it off? What needs a system? You've got to move it along. What can I eliminate, delegate? What can I automate? What could I escalate? And so you've got to make decisions. It's not that you have too many things to take care of. It's that you have so many things that equal the same meaning that once you establish a hierarchy, what's A1 and what's A2, A3, then you go to your Bs, B1, B2, then you put an asterisk by the things that are urgent. You get a clarity on what is first, and then you knock it out. And when you do a whole day of that, you clear the space for 10, 20 days. It's like running free, creative freedom. Systems. There's 7, probably 15 systems that right now are your domino effects. In other words, they're multipliers. If you could systematize, document, manualize, memorialize, whatever these are, make them like a Swiss clock, write them down, turn them into a manual, quick reference guide them. If you just got them out of your head, everything else would fall into place. What are those 7 to 15 systems? And then assign a watchtower in your organization to each one, or maybe 2 or 3. They're going to look over them. Let them be watchtower ninjas. Report to you 5 to 15 minutes every week on the status of that system. Is it optimal? Is it suboptimal? How are we doing? What are we measuring? What's measured gets done. So that your stuff gets off your plate, your stuff gets into systems, your systems go into other people's responsibility. You get to manage them less by having a personal gift in them to take care of it in addition to their uncommon skill. You enable that trust by ensuring their competency is there to inspire your confidence. Confidence is with trust, with fidelity, confidere, with fidelity. And so you're there in that sense to liberate yourself. That's what maintenance days are for. And the big goal of a maintenance day is to not have any. That after a year of 80 of them or so, the whole point of a maintenance day is to not have any. Who likes maintenance days? I mean, did you sign up for your business to prepare, delegate, repair, and upgrade and clean up and all that? No, that's not your work. But that's what you do to do great work. That's what you do to have the tolerance to get to where you're going. That's your means to get there. is you structure your time different, you multiply your time. Because the things you do on that day change significantly the way time is used downrange. So you congratulate your upstream self for supporting your downstream self. Schedule your maintenance time. Bring your staff in on that. Work with them on those days. Be a team. Have your team work on those days so they hold you accountable. Stay in the lanes to this. Make 80% of these days just this. The other 20% is handling all the other serendipities. But 80% is maintenance time. It's intentional time. Now, people are going to look at you and say, now, what are you doing? How do you block a day in the middle of stuff? How do you do this? You say, I just do. You stop being busy. You make a decision to stop being busy and you focus your time intentionally. You start planning your time. And you do it at 40%, 50%. And then you gain the time to value from this investment. Now, I would schedule these for the entire year. Take out your calendar, schedule 80 of them over the next 12 months. Block them out. Communicate these. Make a contract with yourself. Don't break it. This is your time. It's sacred time because it's going to be a game changer for all the other ways that you spend your time on money and production and also the way you spend your free time. If your family wants you back, if you want to get more present, schedule your maintenance days. They are owed that. And if you want to have your time belong to them on your free time, then schedule maintenance time. And I know this because I was going away for a ski trip on a Friday afternoon. I ran inside. I got all my stuff, my tickler file. I got my attaché case. I had a conversation with my trunk the whole weekend. I never got anything out, and it destroyed my ability to attend to my family. Never again. I learned the glory of a maintenance day. And the time on a maintenance day before you go into those free moments is game-changing because it's like a deadline. You know you're up against that. You got to get it done, so you hustle. So you go for it. And as you do that, you use it. You use it as a way to be efficient so that the supply of those days is commensurate with the demand. That whatever it is that you got to do is right up to the supply. That's Parkinson's law. That the demand will always rise to meet the supply. And so if you say it's 24 hours, that's what your mode is. That's it. I'm in a 24-hour maintenance mode right now. That's it. Stay in the lanes and trust this. And then experience that glory of free time because now your head isn't in a twist going, oh my gosh, what did I not get done? You're off your screen time, which is the presence destroyer. I mean, that just destroys your beautiful attention to your family and those activities that make memories in your life. Those memories are the best investments. You want to have that unforgettable moment, those moments of cherishing that are precious because you appreciate the brevity of life. And that's why you do this, is you set yourself up. So if you don't do it just for you, do it for the people you love because they'll enjoy the benefit and they'll get you back. And it's a great way to show them, I love you because I'm so organized in the way I'm doing things. I'm creating what I love in my life plan. So it's not just to grow your business, to build a sustainable business. It's not just to save yourself from low enthusiasm. It's to treat your family with love and meet their emotional needs. And to be present. Because you plan to be present on those days, you do things to make sure you are. And when you've killed out those things, when you've let those monkeys go in your mind, when the gorilla is not on the runway, you can land the plane. So you've got to lower the accumulation and you've got to lower the emissions of these things. And that's what cleaning up is. Clean the runway so the air traffic controller can land at will the things you want to bring in. If you don't clear the decks for action, there's no space. A waste is a terrible thing to mind. That's the quote. A waste is a terrible thing to mind. So, you want to invest your time, you want to multiply your time, it's about this. This is called the law of short reverse. And it means that if you shortly reverse like a quarterback in the game, you will throw better. If you bend down a foot lower, you will jump up 3 feet higher. It's just that way. It's a law. If you abide by it, you can make the use of it and enjoy the benefits of working on your business. It will change how you work in your business, but it will change the way you experience the time in your life and the way that time is used. It will multiply your time by eliminating, automating, delegating. And that you must do. And so this is the discipline that you have to make a habit of. It's a way of doing things, but you got to do things a certain way, and it means consistency and focus. It starts now. Draw a line in the sand. The gig is up. Let's take a walk. Let's go. So if you'd like some help with this, if you're not getting yourself coached, get yourself a running buddy. Get yourself a secret weapon, a climbing buddy. I'm called all sorts of things: an outside jerk, a secret weapon, an accountability buddy, a climbing buddy, a running buddy. Have someone that's honest with you, that's paid to be honest with you. It makes you honest. And as you do that, you'll have an alternative future. You'll be able to deliver it with greater speed and impact because of collaboration. And we're working your interests. So we're at highlevelperformance.com. That's highlevelperformance.com. And so I hope there were some gems and kernels in this audio for you that's going to change your life and change the lives of others around you, and to give them the blessings of your time because of the way you structure yourself. Thank you for listening.